Let's get into a hearing that got very interesting very quickly. A senator repeatedly asked a witness a simple question. If you believe major food companies may be price fixing, which companies are you actually accusing? And instead of getting a straight answer, the witness kept circling around the question. Then the conversation shifted to inflation and Biden-era spending, and that's where the testimony became even more revealing. Welcome back to the Political Brief. If you want straightforward political commentary and reactions to the stories coming out of Washington, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and tell me what you think in the comments. Because by the end of this exchange, there's one question I think everyone should be asking.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Interesting questions. Mr. Maxwell, you're a farmer, is that right?
Yes, Senator.
Excuse me. You used to be a farmer, or you still are?
Yes, Senator, I grew up on a farm. I'm fourth-generation Missouri farmer. My brother does most of the farming. I do this activity more. I do have degrees in ag economics and a law degree, but I still actively farm. I've got over 100 ewes on the farm. We have hogs production. We're kind of the diversified, traditional family farm type operation, lease out some of the land to the neighbor boy.
Yeah, well, America was born on a farm, so thank you for that.
And thank you, Senator.
Dr. Owens, you talked about in order to commit a crime, you have to have means, motive, and opportunity. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you have suggested that it's not an optimal situation to have, well, strike that. Let me just get after it here. What crime are you accusing the four major food companies of?
Price gouging, sir.
Okay. You think they're price fixing?
In some cases, absolutely.
Okay. Name the four companies that you are accusing of price fixing.
In the grocery sector or more broadly?
The four you've been talking about.
I mean, so I think...
name me every company that you think is price fixing in violation of the antitrust laws.
Yeah, I mean, so the most recent example that I think is worth considering is Agristat.
Yes, ma'am, but if you don't mind, we'll come back and do the examples. Name me the companies that you're accusing of price fixing.
Well, the first one is Agristats, which the Department of Justice has sued for price fixing.
Who else?
You know, in the grocery sector, we've got Walmart, we've got Kroger.
Walmart is price fixing.
No, I haven't accused them of price fixing. What I've said is that they're able to expand their markup.
Let me start over here. I want you price fixing is a serious crime. Doc, you can go to jail for that. And I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Who are you accusing of price fixing?
Yeah, look, what my testimony clearly states
is
that...
tell me which companies you're accusing of price fixing. You said some were price fixing, and I want to know which ones.
Yeah, I mean, look...
I may report them myself.
The company that's absolutely under investigation by the DOJ
Which ones are price fixing?
I think the Federal Trade Commission and the Department of Justice should take a close look at the four major grocers. They should take a close look at the four major meat packers.
There are currently
there's pending litigation.
Which companies are price fixing?
Tyson is a great example. Tyson, the large meat packer.
Okay, who else?
The big four meat packers are all currently
That's one. Who else?
Like I said, I think looking at the four major grocers makes sense in this setting.
Which four are price fixing?
Walmart, Albertsons,
Walmart's price
Kroger.
Fixing. Wait,
I didn't say they were. I said taking a look.
You just said they were. You can't come here and say and imply they're price fixing and then say they're price fixing. That's a serious allegation. You can be sued for defamation.
I said we should take a close look at the companies.
Let me go back. I want to be sure I understand your testimony. Are you telling me right here today that you're accusing Walmart of price fixing?
I'm not personally accusing Walmart of price fixing. I am suggesting
Who are you accusing of price fixing? That's a serious charge.
Neither my written testimony nor my oral testimony makes explicit legal claims.
So you're not accusing anybody of price fixing?
No, I have pointed out that the Department of Justice is currently looking at price fixing by Agristats.
Why won't you answer my question? Who are you accusing of price fixing?
I'm pretty sure I have answered your question.
No, you haven't.
Senator.
Just tell me the names of the companies, one by one. What's the first company that you're accusing of price fixing?
I've mentioned AgriStats is currently
Agra what?
AgriStats.
All right, who's number two?
I said Tyson's is currently under investigation for
price fixing.
Yeah.
Who's number three?
I've also said that I think the Department of Justice and the FTC should take a close look at
Who's number three?
Major grocery
Who's number
retailers.
three? Is Walmart price fixing?
I think that they should take a look at.
Is Walmart price fixing?
They should take a look at it.
Is Walmart price fixing?
I can't currently answer that question. I said that the Department
You won't
of
answer
Justice,
that question.
No, I
How
said
about
that
Albertsons? Is Albertsons price fixing?
the Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission
Is Albertsons price fixing?
should take a close look at that.
Is Albertsons price fixing?
Again, I think the Department of Justice should take a close look.
You don't want to say.
No,
Now,
I mean, look, I'm not at the FTC. I'm not at the DOJ.
yes, ma'am, but you've accused these companies of breaking the law, and I think that you ought to have the courage to say in front of God and country what you believe. Now, you either do or you don't.
Look, I believe that when companies get larger and larger,
I understand
and
what
larger,
you believe,
it
but I
becomes easier and
understand
easier
you're
and
waffling
easier to
like a
coordinate.
bank catfish. Okay,
It's easy to coordinate price hikes
Dr.
when you're
Antoni,
large and there are
Dr.
fewer
Antoni,
companies.
I think it's been well established that if we discovered life on Mars tomorrow, Joe Biden would send it money. To what extent has his deficit spending contributed to inflation? And do you know of any of these companies? Would you care to accuse someone of a crime here today? And if anybody else would, just let me know. If somebody is price fixing, I want to know. I'll report them myself. And I'm going to want to see your evidence. Well, otherwise, you subject yourself to defamation. But let me go back to my original question. What was it, Mars? Was it Mars or Jupiter? I forgot. Is the amount of money that President Biden has insisted on spending contributed to inflation? Duh. What's your answer to that?
Well, Senator, regarding the price fixing, I have no evidence because there is no evidence of that, so I can't provide that to you. But to answer the hypothetical on Mars, absolutely that would add to inflation. And yes, the deficit spending under this president, but really under any president, it doesn't matter that it's Joe Biden in particular in the White House doing it. Any person who did, if any person did what he did, it would have the exact same effect, which is this massive run up in prices. Because again, it's not that things are more valuable, it's that the dollar is worth less. So it takes more dollars to buy exactly what you used to. And if you look at, again, the Biden administration's own data, these aren't my figures, these are figures from the Biden administration. They show that prices paid by businesses and prices paid by consumers have gone up almost exactly the same, about 19% during his tenure. And so this idea that somehow the prices that consumers, that I, that all of the people that you represent are paying are somehow the cause of anything other than costs simply being passed on to them, the data simply don't support that.
Okay. How about you, Doc?
Excuse me. No evidence. No, I'm not accusing anyone of price fixing.
Are you a lawyer by chance?
I'm sorry?
Are you a lawyer by chance?
Oh, no, I'm not. Just an economist.
Okay. What happens if you accuse somebody of price fixing and they didn't do it?
I probably don't want to be that person.
You got good insurance?
Yeah. No, I'm not. Not doing that.
Okay. Go ahead.
As far as the fiscal stimulus stuff, that's a standard economic model. And you can go back and look, multiple people, Olivier Blanchard is one, some of the upper bound estimates on how big the shortfall in demand was after COVID and the shutdowns. So like one of the largest upper bound estimates that I've seen is about $680 billion, just the COVID package of 1.9 trillion. That's already almost 3 times the size of that. So that's...
You want to go now?
Sure.
All right.
Let the record reflect that the senator from Louisiana is far more loquacious than the Baptist preacher.
And that's a high standard.
That's
Senator
my friend.
Warnock.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
Right from the beginning, Senator Kennedy makes something very clear. Accusing a company of price fixing isn't some casual political talking point. It's a serious allegation. If you're going to come before Congress and suggest that major companies are deliberately coordinating prices, then you should be able to identify who you believe is actually doing it and explain what evidence supports that claim. And this is where the exchange gets fascinating. The witness is asked, essentially, which companies are you accusing? Instead of naming a list and standing behind the allegation, the answers keep shifting. Agates is mentioned. Tyson is mentioned. Then the major grocery chains come into the discussion. Walmart, Kroger, Albertsons. But when the senator asks directly whether those companies are actually price fixing, suddenly the answer becomes, they should be investigated. Hold on. Those are two very different statements. Saying a company should be investigated is not the same thing as saying that company is guilty of price fixing. And I actually think that distinction matters enormously. As a right-leaning American, I'm all for going after corporations when they genuinely break the law. I don't care whether the company is huge, politically connected, or employs thousands of people. If there's real evidence of illegal price coordination, investigate it, prosecute it, and punish it. But that's exactly why accusations have to be backed by evidence. You can't have it both ways. You can't suggest that major companies are committing a serious crime and then, when asked to identify the companies, retreat into, well, the government should take a closer look. That isn't accountability. That's speculation. And Senator Kennedy clearly wasn't going to let the witness escape that distinction. He keeps coming back to the same question. Is Walmart price fixing? And a response never really gives him a yes or no. Then comes Albertsons. Same situation. Again, the answer is essentially that regulators should investigate. Now, maybe regulators should investigate. That's a legitimate position. Markets absolutely need competition. If a handful of corporations control enormous portions of an industry, government has a responsibility to make sure consumers aren't being exploited through illegal agreements. But there's another side to this conversation that I think gets ignored far too often. Sometimes prices go up because companies are colluding, and sometimes prices go up because the cost of producing and distributing those products has gone up. Those are not the same thing. And then the hearing moves directly into inflation. The economist is asked about government deficit spending under President Biden and whether it contributed to inflation. His answer is basically yes. And this is where I think the hearing gets much more important for ordinary Americans. Because Americans don't experience inflation as an economic theory. They experience it at the grocery store. They experience it when they fill up their cars. They experience it when they pay rent. They experience it when they renew insurance. They experience it when they look at their bank account and realize the same paycheck doesn't stretch nearly as far as it used to. The witness makes an important point. Inflation isn't necessarily about every individual product suddenly becoming more valuable. It's also about the purchasing power of the dollar declining. In other words, if you dramatically increase the amount of money being spent throughout the economy while the supply of goods and services doesn't keep pace, you're going to create pressure on prices. And the testimony points to the enormous size of pandemic-era fiscal stimulus compared with estimates of the economic shortfall. That should make people stop and think. Because it's easy politically to blame a grocery store. It's easy to point at Walmart, Tyson, Kroger, or some other corporation and say, they're the reason your groceries cost more. But if the broader economic environment is pushing costs higher across the entire economy, blaming individual companies for everything doesn't tell the whole story. And that's where I think conservatives have a legitimate criticism. Government spending isn't free. Politicians can announce another massive spending package, print the checks, and tell people they're helping. But eventually, somebody pays the bill. Sometimes that bill shows up through taxes. Sometimes it shows up through debt. And sometimes it shows up through inflation. And inflation can be particularly cruel because it acts almost like a hidden tax. You don't necessarily receive a bill in the mail saying, Washington just reduced your purchasing power by another percentage. You simply walk into the grocery store and discover that your money buys less. Now, Does that mean corporations never engage in anti-competitive behavior? Absolutely not. If there is credible evidence of price fixing, I want regulators investigating it. And if they find actual criminal conduct, prosecute it. But let's not turn every increase in the price of food into evidence of a corporate conspiracy. The hearing itself demonstrated why. The senator kept demanding names, and the witness couldn't clearly identify companies he was personally accusing of price fixing. That's an important distinction. You can advocate for an investigation without declaring someone guilty. And frankly, that's how the justice system is supposed to work. Evidence first, accusation second, conviction only after the evidence actually establishes wrongdoing. What I found most interesting about this exchange is that it exposes a much larger argument happening in America right now. Who is responsible for the rising cost of living? Is it corporations? Is it government spending? Is it supply chain disruption? Is it regulation? Is it some combination of all of the above? I think the answer is more complicated than either political party wants to admit. But one thing is certain, ordinary Americans deserve better than political finger-pointing. They deserve lower costs. They deserve real competition. They deserve a stable currency. And they deserve politicians who understand that massive government spending can have consequences long after the press conference is over. So here's my takeaway from this hearing. If you believe a company is price fixing, show us the evidence. If you believe government spending is contributing to inflation, acknowledge the economic consequences. And if Washington wants to make life more affordable for working Americans, stop pretending that another giant spending bill is automatically the solution. Because at the end of the day, Americans don't care which politician wins the argument on television. They care whether their paycheck can actually pay the bills. And that's the part of this debate that Washington needs to remember. If you found this reaction useful, subscribe to the Political Brief, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments. Do you think America's grocery prices are primarily being driven by corporate behavior, government policy, or a combination of both? Because this debate is far from over.